Welcome to the final frontier of justice, the one jurisdiction where the narcissist has absolutely no power. You have walked the earth carrying the heavy burden of their cruelty. You have watched them lie, cheat, and abuse their way to the top, leaving a trail of broken souls in their wake. You have asked the sky, night after night, why the wicked seem to prosper while the good suffer. You have wondered if they will ever truly pay for the crimes that no human court could prosecute. Today, we are going to answer that question with a terrifying certainty. We are going to look beyond the veil of physical death and examine the ultimate fate of a soul that chose darkness over light. We are going to speak about God's painful retribution in the afterlife. This is a subject that many are afraid to touch, but for the survivor of narcissistic abuse, it is the ultimate closure. You need to know that the universe is not chaotic, it is moral. The narcissist spent their entire life running from the truth, building a fortress of lies to protect a hollow core. But death is the great equalizer. Death is the moment when the fortress collapses. When the narcissist takes their final breath, the game of manipulation ends instantly. There is no gaslighting the creator. There is no smear campaign in the spirit world. There is only the naked, shivering truth of who they really are, and that revelation is their first taste of hell. You might be haunted by the image of them dying peacefully, or perhaps surrounded by people they fooled until the end. Do not let this earthly optical illusion deceive you. The physical body is just a costume. The narcissist wore a very expensive, very convincing costume. But the moment the heart stops, the costume is stripped away. What is left is a deformed, starving spirit that has spent decades atrophying its capacity for love. The piece on their face is merely the mask falling off. Behind the scenes, a cataclysmic spiritual crisis is beginning, one that they are utterly unprepared to face. The haunting question is, did they get away with it? It certainly looked like it from the outside. They may have kept the money, the house, and the reputation. But in the afterlife, the currency changes. The currency is love, truth, and connection. The narcissist arrives on the other side completely bankrupt. They have absolutely zero spiritual equity. Imagine the terror of a person who spent their life needing to be the most important person in the room, suddenly waking up in a reality where they are the smallest, darkest, and most isolated entity in existence. That is not getting away with it, that is walking into a trap they built for themselves. We are going to explore the concept of spiritual solitary confinement. On Earth, the narcissist used people as appliances to regulate their internal chaos. They used you to feel alive. In the afterlife, there are no appliances. There is no supply. God's retribution begins with the removal of all distractions. They are forced to sit in the absolute silence of their own void. For a being that cannot tolerate 5 minutes of solitude without a smartphone or a victim, an eternity of silence is a torture beyond comprehension. This video is going to validate your deepest intuition, that evil does not dissolve, it must be reckoned with. We are going to dismantle the fear that they are watching over you or resting in peace. A soul that lived by causing chaos does not rest. A soul that fed on pain does not find peace. They enter a state of restless, agonizing clarity. They are finally forced to feel the emotions they suppressed in you. They are forced to carry the baggage they dumped on you. The scales are balancing, and the weight is crushing them. You must understand that this retribution is not about a vengeful God throwing lightning bolts. It is about the physics of the soul. The narcissist chose separation. They chose to separate themselves from humanity, from empathy, and from love. In the afterlife, God grants them their wish. He gives them total, absolute separation. He gives them exactly what they chose, and it turns out to be a nightmare. They wanted to be a god? Now they are the god of a desolate, empty universe of one. We will discuss the life review, a phenomenon reported in near-death experiences, but through the lens of a predator. For a normal person, the life review is a mix of joy and regret. For a narcissist, it is a horror movie where they are the villain in every scene. They are forced to experience every single tear you cried, every moment of confusion, every sleepless night, not from their perspective, but from yours. They finally attain the empathy they mocked, and it burns them like fire. Do not let their earthly ending fool you. Whether they died in a mansion or a hospital bed, the destination is the same. The false self, the charming, successful mask, stays in the coffin. The true self, the broken, angry, envious child, is what crosses over. And that child is terrified. They are entering a realm of pure light with a soul full of shadows. The contrast is blinding. The exposure is total. There is nowhere left to hide. Prepare yourself. We are going to step into the ultimate courtroom. We are going to witness the judgment of the loveless. By the end of this video, you will feel a profound release. You will realize that you don't need to seek revenge because the universe has already designed a punishment far more precise and painful than anything you could inflict. Let's unveil the divine justice. To understand their punishment, you must understand what the narcissist actually is. They are spiritual parasites. On Earth, they survived by attaching themselves to hosts, you, their children, their partners, and draining your light to fill their void. They mimicked human emotion, but they did not generate it. Now, imagine a parasite that is torn away from its host. In the afterlife, there is no host to attach to. They are starving. The hunger that drove them on Earth becomes an insatiable, burning famine in the spirit world. They are eternally hungry for a validation that will never come again. We must analyze the death of the false self. The narcissist spent their entire life investing in an illusion. They believed they were the mask. They believed they were the titles, the beauty, the money. Death is the bankruptcy of the false self. When they cross over, they reach for their identity, and it dissolves in their hands like ash. They are left with the shocking realization that they are nobody. For a narcissist, being nobody is a fate worse than death. It is an annihilation of the ego that they spent decades defending. They carry the weight of unrepentant sin. We are not talking about religious dogma, we are talking about the energy of cruelty. Every time they gaslit you, every time they smeared your name, every time they enjoyed your pain, they added a layer of density to their soul. In the afterlife, this density acts like an anchor. While other souls rise into vibration and light, the narcissist sinks. They are spiritually heavy. They are dragged down by the gravity of their own malice, unable to ascend to higher realms of peace. The mirror of truth is unavoidable. On Earth, the narcissist avoided mirrors. They surrounded themselves with people who would reflect back a lie. They demanded you tell them they were perfect. In the afterlife, God provides a mirror that cannot be broken or fogged. They are forced to look at their true reflection. They see the ugliness of their envy, the rot of their greed, and the deformity of their hatred. They cannot look away. They are locked in a room with the truth of who they are, and they are repulsed by their own image. They experience the great isolation. Narcissists are terrified of being alone. That is why they always had a new supply lined up before discarding the old one. They cannot sit with themselves. In the afterlife, isolation is the default state for those who rejected connection. They are surrounded by the vast silence of the universe. There is no phone to check. There is no bar to go to. There is no audience to manipulate. There is just them, and the echo of their own empty thoughts. The loss of control is absolute. The narcissist was a control freak. They needed to control the narrative, the finances, and your emotions. In the afterlife, they have zero agency. They are subject to the laws of the spirit, which they cannot manipulate. They cannot bribe the angels. They cannot charm the judges. They are stripped of their primary weapon. This powerlessness induces a state of panic and rage that has no outlet. They are screaming in a vacuum. They are blinded by the light. Souls that cultivated love on earth are compatible with the light of the divine. The narcissist, who cultivated darkness, finds the light painful. It is too bright, too pure, too honest. They recoil from it. They retreat into the shadows not because they are forced to, but because the light reveals too much. They choose the darkness because it is the only place where they can hide their shame. They banish themselves to the outer rim of existence. Their addiction withdrawal is eternal. The narcissist was addicted to narcissistic supply, attention, adoration, fear. They lived for the reaction of others. In the afterlife, the supply line is cut. They are going through an eternal withdrawal. They crave the dopamine hit of being admired, but there is no one there to admire them. It is a craving that claws at their spirit, an itch that can never be scratched. They are junkies without a fix, forever. They are haunted by the truth of you. On earth, they convinced themselves you were the problem. They smeared you as the crazy one. In the clarity of the afterlife, that delusion is stripped away. They know, with absolute certainty, that you were the source of light and they were the vampire. They know they threw away a diamond to play with rocks. This realization is not a sweet regret. It is a bitter, corroding knowledge that they destroyed the very thing that could have saved them. Ultimately, their punishment is self-imprisonment. God does not need to build a jail cell. The narcissist built the cell themselves, bar by bar, with every lie they told. They are trapped inside the construct of their own ego, which has now calcified into a prison. They have the key, repentance, but their pride is so great that they refuse to use it. They choose to stay in the cell rather than admit they were wrong. The dramatic turning point in the afterlife is the life review. This is the moment the narcissist dreads most. It is not a passive watching of a movie, it is an immersive re-experiencing of reality. They are placed back in the moments of their greatest cruelty. But this time, they are inside your body. They feel the confusion when they gaslit you. They feel the shattering heartbreak when they cheated. They feel the crushing worthlessness when they discarded you. The empathy they lacked in life is forced upon them in death. This is the data download of pain. Every ounce of suffering they exported to you is returned to sender. The universe seeks balance. The pain has to go somewhere. It goes back to the source. The narcissist falls to their spiritual knees under the weight of the collective sorrow they caused. They feel the pain of their children, their spouses, their employees. It is a tsunami of agony that they cannot shut off. There is no dissociation in the afterlife. They have to feel it all. They attempt to argue with the divine. Even in this state, their arrogance surfaces. They try to justify their actions. I had a hard childhood. She provoked me. I did the best I could. But the divine presence does not argue back. It simply radiates truth. The excuses evaporate instantly. The narcissist realizes that their justifications are laughable in the face of absolute love. Their voice fades into silence as they realize the absurdity of trying to gaslit God. The great separation occurs. They see the souls of their victims, you, and others, moving towards warmth, reunion, and peace. They see you happy. They see you healed. And they realize they cannot follow. There is an energetic barrier. They are vibrationally incompatible with your destination. For the first time, they are the ones being discarded. You are moving on to a place where they are not allowed to enter. The gate is shut, and they are on the outside looking in. They experience cosmic envy. Seeing you in the light, free from their torment, triggers a rage deeper than anything they felt on earth. They want to pull you down. They want to ruin your heaven. But they cannot touch you. You are protected by the very boundaries they tried to destroy in life. Their envy turns inward and consumes them. They burn with the knowledge that you won, and they lost. The illusions of grandeur shatter completely. On earth, they thought they were special, chosen, elite. In the afterlife, they realize they were spiritually stunted. They see souls they considered weak or stupid shining like stars, advanced and wise. They realize that the weakness was actually kindness, and the stupidity was actually trust. The hierarchy is inverted. The first are last, and the last are first. The narcissist is at the bottom of the spiritual food chain. They face the council of truth. They are confronted by the reality of their wasted potential. They were given the gift of life, the opportunity to love, and they squandered it on petty games of ego. They see the timeline of what could have been if they had chosen healing. They see the beautiful life they forfeited. The regret is not I miss you, the regret is I wasted my existence. It is an existential grief that has no remedy. The flying monkeys are gone. On earth, they had enablers who supported their lies. In the afterlife, the enablers are facing their own reckoning. There is no one to validate the narcissist's story. There is no clique. There is no gang. They stand alone in the spotlight of judgment. The silence where applause used to be is deafening. They look around for support and find only the empty space of their own betrayal. They realize supply is dead. The energy they used to survive, your attention, is non-existent here. They try to pull energy from the environment, but the afterlife runs on love, and they don't have the hardware to process it. They are like a machine trying to run on the wrong fuel. They sputter and stall. They become inert, frozen, unable to move or act because they have no source of power. The turning point ends with the acceptance of hell. They realize that this is not a temporary holding cell. This is the residence they built. They looked at the blueprints every day on Earth and laid the bricks with every cruel word. Now, the house is finished, and they have to live in it. The realization that there is no escape from themselves is the final, crushing blow. In this state of eternal collapse, the narcissist becomes a shadow entity. Without the light of love, they dim. They become gray, formless, and indistinct. They lose the beauty they prized so much. They become a visual representation of their inner ugliness. They are twisted, hunched, and dark. If you could see them now, you wouldn't feel fear, you would feel a deep, revulsed pity. They are the goblins of the spirit world, hiding in crevices, ashamed to be seen. They are caught in a time loop of rage. Because they cannot process emotions or learn from them, they get stuck. They relive their grievances over and over. They scream about how you wronged them, repeating the same lies to an empty room for eternity. They are trapped in a skipping record of their own victimhood. They cannot move forward because moving forward requires accountability, and they refuse to pay that price. The thirst becomes unbearable. It is a spiritual thirst for connection, for God, for meaning. But their throat is closed by pride. They are standing in a river of water, but they cannot drink because they refuse to bow their heads. They choose to dehydrate rather than submit. This stubbornness is their torture. They would rather reign in hell than serve in heaven, but they find that reigning in hell is just lonely suffering. They become energetically radioactive. Other souls avoid them. The darkness radiating from them is palpable. It repels anything good. They are isolated not just by decree, but by physics. Kindness cannot stick to them. Compassion slides off them. They are hermetically sealed in their own toxicity. They are the lepers of the afterlife, untouched and unwanted. The memory of power torments them. They remember when they were feared. They remember when they could make you cry. They try to summon that feeling of power, but it is gone. It feels like a phantom limb. They reach for the control switch, but it isn't there. They are impotent ghosts, watching the universe unfold without their permission. They are surrounded by mirrors of their victims. In their personal hell, they might be surrounded by hallucinations of the people they hurt, but these figures do not respond to manipulation. They simply stare with sad, knowing eyes. The narcissist screams at them, commands them, begs them, but the figures remain silent witnesses to the truth. The narcissist is haunted by the eyes of the innocent. The internal critic becomes God. The voice in their head that told them they were worthless, the voice they tried to silence by abusing you, is now the only voice they hear. It is amplified to the volume of thunder. You are nothing. You are a fraud. You are alone. There is no TV to turn on to drown it out. There is no new supply to distract them. They have to listen to their own self-hatred on a loop forever. They experience the freezing of the heart. Hell is often depicted as fire, but for the narcissist, it is ice. It is the absolute zero of emotional connection. They grow colder and colder. They become rigid, frozen statues of pride. They are petrified by their own refusal to love. They become monuments to selfishness, cold to the touch and dead to the core. The final forgetfulness begins. As they drift further from the light, they start to lose their memories of joy. They only remember the grievances. The good times they had fade away because they were not based on real connection. They are left with a curated museum of their resentments. They hold onto these resentments like treasures, unaware that they are holding onto piles of dust. Ultimately, they become the void. They merge with the emptiness they feared. They lose their distinct personality because their personality was fake. They become just a pocket of negativity in the cosmos, a black hole that consumes itself. They cease to be a person and become a warning. So, what is the final truth you must internalize to set yourself free? It is this: you do not need to wait for justice. Justice is automatic. The narcissist is walking toward a cliff edge that they cannot see, but the laws of the universe guarantee their fall. God's retribution is not an act of anger, it is an act of restoration. It is the universe correcting the imbalance caused by their hatred. You must realize that you are not part of their punishment. You are released. Your contract with them ended the moment you chose yourself. You are not required to witness their suffering in the afterlife. You are destined for higher planes. You are going where the love is. You are going where the truth is. They cannot follow you there. The painful retribution is simply the return of their own energy. They threw boomerangs of hate their entire life. In the afterlife, all those boomerangs return at once. It is not God hurting them, it is them being hit by their own weapons. They are the architects of their own agony. Let go of the need to see them suffer now. Know that it is handled. It is being recorded in the ledger of the soul. Every lie, every betrayal, every cruel word, it is all evidence in a trial they cannot win. You don't need to be the judge, jury, or executioner. You just need to be the survivor who walked away. Your revenge is your joy. Your revenge is your peace. While they are destined for a cold, lonely eternity of self-reflection, you are destined for warmth and connection. That is the ultimate victory. They tried to drag you into their hell on earth, but you cut the rope. You are rising, they are sinking. Do not pray for their soul to be saved if it burdens you. Pray for your own soul to be healed. They had a lifetime of chances to choose love, and they rejected every single one. Their fate is the sum of their choices. Respect their free will to choose darkness, and respect your own right to choose light. Imagine them standing before the vast ocean of divine love, unable to drink a single drop because of their pride. That is the tragedy. That is the punishment. They are starving at a banquet. You, however, are seated at the table, feasting on the love you always deserved. Walk forward into your life with the certainty of a protected soul. The universe saw what happened to you. The universe kept score. And the universe has ruled in your favor. You are vindicated. The narcissist story ends in silence and shadow. Your story is just beginning, and it is written in light. Leave them to God. You have a beautiful life to live. You are free.